Hey, Mr. Witherow here. Today we are going to graph quadratic equations. All right, so we have to go back and remember a couple things that we're going to need to find, right? That's our notes that we did a couple videos ago. Axis of symmetry, right? Make sure that it's in, well, before we get to there, make sure that's in standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c. Axis of symmetry is that opposite of b over 2a. And once we find out what x is, then we plug it back in and find out the vertex, right? Find out the y. So we find the vertex. We check out a to see if it opens up or down, right? If it opens up, we have a minimum, right? There's a bottom to it. If it opens up, we have a maximum. That's something we need to talk about. And then domain, this is the other thing that we're going to talk about today, is domain is always going to be real numbers, and then the range is going to be the y value in the vertex. So if it's a minimum, we're going to say that y is greater than that y value, right? If it's a maximum, since it's opening down, we're going to say that y is less than that, all right? So these are little things that we're going to need. I would keep this sheet with me or have it ready to go. The biggest thing that you always have to do is make sure you identify the A, B, and C. Would probably be the best thing you need to do, right? So it's telling us up here that we need to find the axis of symmetry, the vertex, and then we're going to put some numbers in here. Remember, x we get to choose, right? X is the independent. We choose this. This is the one that we want to choose. So we're going to get to choose these. So before we put any numbers in there, let's find out our vertex. So the A here is 1, B is 0, and C is 0. All right, since there's nothing there. So the axis of symmetry is the opposite of B over 2A. So the opposite of 0 over 2 times 1, well, that's still just 0. So the axis of symmetry is x equals 0. Now we plug this back in, and we're going to get y is equal to 0. So the vertex is 0, 0. So we're going to put that right there. So the vertex is 0, 0. Domain, we're always going to say is real numbers, right? It's always going to be real numbers. So if you wanted to, you can come down here to number 2 and put real numbers. And to number 3, and we could put real numbers, right? That one's the given. The range is going to be y, whatever y is. So let's talk about this. The A is positive. So since it's positive, it's going to open up. So we're going to have a minimum, right? So if we have a minimum, then y is going to be greater than. We want all the numbers greater than this value right here. So greater than or equal to 0. All right. So vertex is 0, 0. So we go over here and plot 0, 0. And then what we're going to do is we have the axis of symmetry is 0. So that's this, which happens to be the y-axis. So now you have to just plug in. And again, we get to choose. X is independent. You get to choose the x. So let's just keep it close here, right? Let's put 2, negative 2, and negative 4, and positive, and 2 and 4. So if I plug these values in for x, right? So negative 4 squared is 16. Negative 2 squared is 4, 2 squared is 4, and 4 squared is 16. All right? So we picked a couple of those right there. We know that a couple of these are off the charts, so that's fine. But negative 2, 4, so we go over negative 2 and up 4. And I guarantee that there's another one that's going to be right here, because remember, the axis of symmetry treats it like a mirror. So if we were to fold these two things, these 2 points will hit there perfectly. So we just draw this like this, all right? So we always put the vertex in the middle here. And then we pick a couple to each side just to make sure that we know what we're doing, all right? Nothing too crazy on this one. This is sort of kind of what we just did before on the last one. Now we're just adding the graphing world, all right? So again, A is 1, B is 2, C is negative 1. We don't really have to have negative 1. Really, this is your y-intercept, right? So we know that this is going to cross here. We don't know what else it looks like. We know that the axis of symmetry, right? So the axis of symmetry is the opposite of b over 2a. So this is x equals that. So the opposite of b is negative 2 over 2 times 1. So negative 2 over 2, which is negative 1. So x is negative 1. So we know that this is the axis of symmetry. We know that it opens up, right? We know that it opens up because a is positive. Since it's opening up, we have a minimum, which means that the y is going to be greater than. Now, what's our vertex? Remember, we take our vertex and we plug it in. So maybe we're going to need some more room here, so I'm going to just slide over here. So y is equal to negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 minus 1. So make sure that we put in parentheses, right? Make sure that you put in parentheses. That's the way you don't mess up on your calculator. If you have a calculator here and you just put negative 2 and you, oh sorry, not negative 2, negative 1 and you hit squared, right? You're going to hit enter and it's going to tell you that's negative 1. The reason why it tells you negative 1 because the calculator thinks you're asking for the opposite of 1 squared. But no, we're not. We're looking for negative. So we have to use parentheses. So negative 1 squared is actually 1 because negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. So that's what you have to remember. So this is 1 minus 2 minus 3. 1 minus 2 is negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. So our vertex is negative 1, negative 4. So we're going to put that one here because that's our vertex. So we come over here, negative 1, negative 4. So we already, our negative 1 is our axis symmetry, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here it is. There's our point. So again, if we would fold it, we know that our y-intercept is at negative 1, and that's one away from the axis symmetry. That means there's another one over here, right? So if this is negative 1, again, you can expand it. We've already did negative 2, and we can do negative 3 if you want, which means this is 0 and this is 1, right? So we've already done negative 2. Negative 2 is negative 1. And we've already done 0, which is negative 1. So now we have to put in negative 3 up here. So then we can, folks, you can always use your calculator, right? So if I was to put negative 3 in here, I'd have this. I'd use parentheses, negative 3 squared plus 2 times negative 3, and then minus 1. So I would put that in the calculator. Remember, we replaced the x's with negative 3. That's why we put parentheses. And we hit enter, and it says it's 2. So we put a 2 here, right? If my mirror looks right, then this is going to be a 2. So let's see, negative 3. So this is negative 1, 2, 3, and up 2. So that means, again, if I reflect this in, I'm 2 away from the axis of symmetry, so I go 2 more on this side. And what is that? That's 1, 2. Look at that. Boom, nailed it. So then we just come down and we go back up. All right, not the best drawing, but there we go. All right, not too terrible, right? Let's take a look at number 3 because number 3 is just a little bit different. A is going to be negative 1, B is going to be negative 8, and C is going to be negative 17. So this is our y-intercept. Well, we can't put negative 17 on there, right? We know that it opens down, so now the y is going to be, less than, all right? Oh, we forgot the range up here. Remember that this is, then we drop that down, so negative 4. All right, my fault. So coming back to number 3 here, we know that it opens down, so that means we're going to have a maximum, so the y can't be greater than whatever it is. Let's take a look at the axis of symmetry. So the opposite of negative 8 over 2 times negative 1. Opposite of negative is positive. 2 times negative 1 is negative, so this is negative 4. So x equals negative 4. So that means the range is less than negative 4. All right, so x is negative 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here is my axis of symmetry. So then my vertex is negative 4 something, right? So we're going to put that there. So now let's go plug this in. So this is why I wanted to plug it in, because this opposite sign out here, this tells us that we want the opposite of negative 4 squared minus 8 times negative 4 minus 17. All right, folks. So now what we want is that you got to make sure that you type this in correct. So we're going to hit the negative button, then the percent, or parentheses. The negative button is this button down here, not the subtraction button, unless your calculator does that. So then negative 4 squared minus 8 times negative 4 minus 17. So again, if you look at the calculator, it's exactly what I typed in over here. Negative, the opposite of negative 4 squared minus 8 times negative 4 minus 17. You hit enter, and all that work is negative 1. So y is negative 1. Y is negative 1. Why did I do that? Negative 1. Sorry, folks. I don't know why I'm messing up here. This is what the y is less than or equal to negative 1. So that's the range. Sorry about that. Okay, so now we've got everything. So now we have our vertex is negative 4, negative 1. So that's that point right there. We know that it opens down. So we expect to have these numbers less than negative 1. All right, so again, if we put negative 5 and negative 6, which would make negative 3 and negative 2, right? So now the fun part is that you start plugging these numbers in, which that means that we're going to have to start looking at this differently. So now if I down, down, up, and hit enter, now I can come over here and change this because I want to make this a negative 6. So this is another trick. So if you hit 6 and you hit enter, it's going to be telling me this is negative 21, which is off the chart. All right, so up, up, enter, and now I can come back in here and change it to negative 5. And I'm going to get negative 10. So this is negative 10. So that means at negative 5, I'm at negative 10, which I'm 1 away from, so I'm over here. So that means negative 3, I'm at negative 10, and negative 2, I'm at negative 21. See the symmetry here? See the numbers are going to be the same. As long as these are consistent, the number is going to be the same. So this is very... Okay, folks. What did I do wrong? Oh, oh, dummy me. I only changed the first thing here. So my fault. I should probably redo this, but I'm not. So this is my fault. Ooh, that's bad. Sorry. So I forgot to... I forgot to change this one as to 5 as well. So I hit enter. Oh, now it's not going to do it. Okay. So let's just type it back in here. My fault. So sorry. Negative 6 squared minus 8 times negative 6 minus, minus 17. So now I got it right. So hit enter and it's negative 5. Okay, so when negative 6, it's negative 5. That's a little bit better. So negative 6, so that's this one over here. Negative 5 is down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There it is down there. I'm 2 away from the axis of symmetry, 1, 2, so I'm 1, 2. So that means this one is negative 5 as well. So then we have to plug in, enter. So I'm going to come in here and change both numbers now. That would help me out. I didn't do that last time. So I changed both numbers and I get negative 2. All right, see, we all make mistakes. It's okay. As Bob Ross says, they're happy little mistakes. So we got that. So this is negative 5, negative 2, so we're here and here. So there's our graph. Woo! That one took a little longer than it needed to. Sorry about that. Okay, so you got the gist of it. All right, so hopefully that works. Have a little fun with it. Try not to make too many mistakes like I did, but if you do, just go back and look at it. If you get weird numbers, that means it's probably making a mistake, and just go with it. All right, go back and look at it. All right, keep having fun. Thanks.